Hey y'all, today we're just outside of Washington, D.C., and in this video we are going to be touring the National Museum of Health and Wellness in search of particular creepy artifacts. I know a few things that are here. Should be interesting. Let's go inside. Well, we've made it inside the museum, and like I said, I'm not going to be giving a full tour of this museum. I'm going to be looking for dark, creepy artifacts. Hope you enjoy. Starting things off right away, I mean, this doesn't get any creepier. This is a jungle boot pierced by a spike in the Vietnam War. You guys will not believe what this is. This is President James Garfield's vertebrae. So if you didn't know, he was assassinated in 1881. And this is first and second lumbar vertebrae, showing with this part has the gunshot wound in it. That's what that red plastic piece goes through, but yeah. And right next to the vertebrae is a cabinet of President Ulysses S. Grant's tumor slides. If you didn't know, he passed away from cancer in 1885, and these slides were presented to the museum. These are all parasites that could be living in the body, in your body right now, in my body. You never know. Guess until you die and they do an autopsy. Circa 1870, modern surgical chainsaw. You can imagine they were cutting bones apart with those. This is Major General Daniel E. Sickles, and what's crazy about this is he lost his leg. You can see the right leg right there. That was blown off at the Battle of Gettysburg. What I have to tell you something crazy about this and show you something else too. I did years ago a series at Gettysburg at the battlefields, and I was standing in the exact same spot where Sickles lost his leg, and here is a piece of his actual bone. It's most of the bone. Major General Daniel Sickles' bone that was shot by a cannonball. He was literally sitting on his horse watching the battle from afar, and a cannonball flew over and hit him right in the leg, and yeah, it had to be amputated. And I'm sure it was a cannonball just like that. These are just a bunch of pieces of bones with gunshot wounds. Like, there's a bullet still right there. I promise we will see more than just bones today, but I guess I'm in the bone section, if you want to call it that. Wow, look at bullet hole. These ones don't say gunshot wounds, they say blunt force trauma. So these could have been with, fixed bayonets, right? Vertebrae and pelvis gunshot wounds. A lumbar spine gunshot wound. And they put those pieces of plastic, obviously, to show you exactly where the wound is. Ribs, gunshot wound, and it looks like it's all just preserved in a liquid container. Lung gunshot wound. I've never seen somebody's lung before. I don't think so anyway, and this is along with a gunshot wound. Skull gunshot wounds. It is absolutely amazing in a weird way to think and know that these were soldiers' actual skulls, not fake at all in this museum, not like at Haunted Mansion in Disneyland or Disney World. Wow, that whoever this happened to, I don't even think they felt any pain. I think it was just instant lights out as soon as that happened. We have reached the part of the museum that I specifically came here to see. and it is President Lincoln's exhibit. Lincoln's final hours on my channel. I've toured Ford's Theater and we'll be retracing the steps of Abraham Lincoln, so make sure to check out those videos. But this is the final hours of Lincoln's life. The bullet that killed President Abraham Lincoln is right here. I cannot believe I'm seeing this in person. I'm not surprised at all. It's still kept after all these years, but to see it in person right here is absolutely insane. Here's another shot of it. That is the bullet that came out of John Wilkes Booth's gun and went into Lincoln's head. I guess this is what you would call the Lincoln case. But we're going to go through all of these. Bone fragments from President Abraham Lincoln's skull. Tell me how wild that is to be staring with me at pieces of Lincoln's actual skull. And this is a single bone fragment of Lincoln that was found in Dr. Edward Curtis's autopsy kit. My word. Sleeve cuffs of Dr. Edward Curtis stained with President Abraham Lincoln's blood. Oh my gosh. The probe they used to locate the bullet in Lincoln's head. That's wild. To think this was inside his head on that night. Locks of Lincoln's hair from head wound. There you go. We're literally looking at Abraham Lincoln's hair, and there is, I don't know if you can tell, but there's still blood in the hair today. Unfortunately, this is all that's left of this sergeant's skull. Tiny little chainsaw was used to remove a portion of bone without amputating the entire limb. This is the first hand we're seeing today. Oh my gosh, gunshot wound during the Vicksburg campaign. I was at the Battle of Vicksburg. It's a members only video, but wow. So I was there where this person once upon a time lost their hand. If you watch, like Civil War movies, the one I'm thinking right now is Gettysburg. That's probably my favorite. You have seen plenty of these before. Lower limb amputation tools. Cannot imagine. And these guys had no pain meds. It was just put a towel in their mouth and go. Somebody's foot. Private John Brown, 109th New York Infantry, lost his foot. An entire case of bullets that were found in human parts. A skull with a big hole right through it. Oh my gosh. That is crazy. This is an old autopsy kit. I would imagine they're much more, today. But back then, they could all fit in this box, I guess. And speaking of amputations, here's a clamp. Like I said, I've watched so many Civil War, Revolutionary War movies, and you see stuff like this in the movies, but when you see it in person, it's just on a different level. All right, no, I got no words for this one. Foot that had smallpox way back in the day. It's black, and it's very sad because it's a very tiny foot. So obviously this was from a young child. Wow, they're talking about 9/11, and they're talking about, you know, when they had to go through the human remains that were left, and here's a photo of them kind of separating parts from the debris, and this is one of the autopsy instruments that was used. This, yes, if I'm being honest, this is the reason why I wanted to come to this specific museum. I didn't expect all of this other very interesting stuff, but right here, especially like on this trip, I'm doing the final 24 hours of retracing Lincoln's life. I'm retracing Booth's steps after he did this, and I'm retracing all the way down to where he met his end. And I'm touring Ford's Theater, so this is like an entire, wrap up. Crazy. A brain fully attached to the spinal cord. They literally have a skeleton from 4 months, 5 months, 7 months, 8 months. Sorry, I'll back up a little bit. Skeleton at birth. And then 3 months, 11 months, 3 years, 3 or 6 months, all the way to 5 years old. Wow, that was really cool and interesting. And yeah, if you guys want to tour this museum yourselves, it's about 45 minutes or so north of Washington, D.C. Completely free. Just go in. It probably took me like an hour to go through everything, and definitely recommend it. If you want to see more museum videos like this, make sure to check out this playlist here. I also cover just other cool, creepy stuff on the channel if you're interested in dark history of famous graves. But regardless, thank you all so much for watching. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you all in the next video.